Hello, story lovers. Today's story is about a woman in a coma for 3 weeks who wakes up to learn her family pulled the plug on her. Jill and Ryan Finley were a regular couple living in Oklahoma City when their worlds were completely turned upside down. Being married only 14 years, the Finleys were very much in love. They spent their weekends relaxing and sleeping in. But what started out as a normal Saturday morning turned into a nightmare when Ryan went to wake Jill up from her nap only to find she was completely unresponsive. Something was very wrong. Jill and Ryan spent their weekends like most couples do by relaxing. Ryan let Jill sleep in on their porch reading the newspaper. But one Saturday in May, Ryan had a weird feeling that he should wake his wife up early. This Saturday morning, May 26th in 2007, as he walked in the room, Ryan tried to wake up Jill and found that no matter how hard he tried or how loud he yelled, she remained unresponsive. When he realized she wasn't breathing, he called a CPR course. He recalled a CPR course he had taken 10 years ago and dragged Jill out of the bed and onto the floor. Ryan then called 911 and administered CPR, staying on the phone with the 911 operator while he waited for paramedics to arrive. When they got to the house, they shocked Jill's heart back to life and rushed her by ambulance to the Oklahoma Heart Hospital. There, the doctors put her on a respirator and Ryan sat there and prayed. At the hospital, Ryan watched doctors put his wife in a special suit meant to lower her body temperature. This was done in an attempt to minimize any damage to Jill's brain caused by her lack of oxygen. The good news was Jill was alive and breathing with a beating heart, but she remained in a deep coma for an undetermined amount of time. Ryan watched his entire life flash before his eyes. His loving wife was comatose and might never wake up. He decided that from that moment forward, he would stay by Jill's side and never leave her until she was healthy. He slept on an empty hospital bed next to her nightly and read the Bible to her. A few days passed, and despite his attention and efforts, Jill remained in her comatose state. The doctors were indirectly telling him that his wife's situation was hopeless. They told him that there was a 1% chance that Jill would survive. With those odds, even if Jill did survive, she would not live the rest of her life as a functioning person. Yet, despite hearing his wife's fate, Ryan was unwilling to accept it, and he kept praying. Ryan decided to keep a journal to write down his thoughts and hopes and wishes. He found it very comforting to write those things down, as he felt one day Jill would be able to read it herself. This journal was very therapeutic to Ryan. Ryan wrote in one journal entry, "She's my soulmate and my wife, my everything in this world. I would be lost without her. I will not give up hope. I will never give up on her." Every morning that I woke up, I'd realized this wasn't a dream. Doctors told Ryan that there were never any signs Jill was coming back, and with the help of Jill's parents, it was time to make some difficult decisions. After consulting with Jill's entire family, Ryan concluded that his wife wouldn't want to spend her life in a hospital bed, so he requested a court order to disconnect Jill from life support. On the morning of June 9, 2007, doctors began to prepare Ryan for what to expect when his wife was unhooked from all the machines. They said that he wouldn't be surprised that Jill will exhibit slight movements and restlessness as she was unhooked. This movement, the last rally in Jill family, began to say their goodbyes. At about 6 p.m., doctors disconnected Jill from the machines that had been keeping her alive. She didn't die immediately, and at about 11:45 p.m., Jill began getting restless. Ryan watched as her whole upper torso shifted a bit, and then the mumbling started. When that began, I left the room. I got physically sick. Ryan thought this was the beginning of the end. Then the nurse called him. One of the nurses called Ryan into the room and said that Jill was talking. Ryan figured this behavior was normal and attributed it to the last rally mumble, but still, he returned to the room. There, Jill said, "Get me out of here." Then she made the most shocking request. Jill said, "Take me to Ted's and take me to the Melting Pot." These two places were both of their favorite restaurants, and Ryan was in disbelief. He proceeds to ask Jill questions like what their phone number was and the names of their dog and cat. After answering all 3 questions correctly, Ryan knew this was far from the last rally. Jill had come out of her coma and was breathing on her own. By a miracle of God, she underwent surgery to implant a pacemaker for her heart condition and then went into a rehabilitation center. But Jill doesn't remember anything, and doctors are still not sure what happened or how she woke up. Jill says her explanation is God. She believes he is the reason she's here today, and also thanks to her husband Ryan. As far as Ryan's decision to pull the plug on his wife, he says that if he had a second chance, he would never change his actions. Jill thinks he made the right decision as well, saying, "I would have not wanted to live like that." She did not want to live like a vegetable. After waking up from her coma, Jill spent the next few months relearning simple tasks like brushing her teeth, tying her shoelaces, and learning how to cook, all of which are normal for coma survivors. But like many people in a coma, Jill could not remember anything that happened at the house, in the hospital, or anything in between. She did remember one thing, though. The only thing that Jill remembered from her time in the hospital was the big shower they wheeled her into every day. She also remembered going into inpatient therapy and the names of all the occupational therapists and speech pathologists that helped her. Besides that, Jill has speech that she's working on, and her short-term memory is off, but other than that, she's pretty normal. One of her friends even told Jill she's jealous of her because Jill and her husband act like newlyweds. Not that they didn't cherish each other before, but now Jill and Ryan spend every waking minute together. They go everywhere together, even the grocery store. To this day, there's not a night that goes by that I don't wake up. I usually kick Jill in her sleep. If she kicks me back, I know we're okay, Ryan says. Now, Jill spends every day cherishing her life with her husband, who was nominated for an Oklahoma Heart Hero Award for his CPR work. The couple also have gone to Ted's and the Melting Pot to honor Jill's special requests. What a heart-warming story.